Howdy, 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 howdy. Welcome to Cliff Notes Live. Welcome to another Monday evening. Love hanging with you guys. Welcome to the last Monday of the Big Brother season. Yeah, we're that close, right? We are almost there. We're going to be talking about it. I do have some spoilers. I know some of you already know as well. I've seen some of the comments. But I do have some spoilers, very last minute stuff. So if you don't want to have spoilers, if you don't want to know what happened beyond yesterday's episode, you may have to hold off and watch this on repeat a little bit later. Just fair warning to all of you guys. All right, welcome aboard. Let me start off with the big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love all you guys out there, love reality TV, and I love Big Brother. Sometimes I love it more than other times. It's been a bit of a grind for the last week or so. We'll talk about all that. All right, first of all, let me see who all's out here. Oh, well, before even doing that, if you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to my channel, turning on notifications, hitting the old thumbs up is always appreciated as well. During Big Brother season, I've been doing the morning recaps every morning. I've been doing the evening Monday night shows that we do all year round. Now that we're through with Big Brother, I'm not sure exactly what I'll do. I don't know if I may probably not cover Survivor, Amazing Race, maybe, where I just don't know yet. It depends on how times are going on. I got to sleep for a little bit before that. So we'll see. But it may come in handy to turn on notifications just in case. You never know. All right, let me see who all's out here, and then we will get right into the questions, the spoilers, everything else. Patricia Miller. Patricia, how you doing, my friend? Marilyn Sutherland as well. Rita Coase. Big Jake 88. Jay's out here. Carol Mosier. I see all these comments. I'll come back and talk to them here in a little bit. Rooftop Jitterbug. Hey, Rooftop. How are you? Paula Scar, Karen Loveland, Lee Strack, Tim Cox. Amanda's out there. Hey, Amanda, how are you? Let's see who else. Terry Thomas, Jane Heaven, Dr. Bose. The doctor is in the house. Howdy, Dr. Bose. Mosu's out here. Tommy Braskett, Michelle Moore, Doreen Morris. Love seeing all these names out here. Brian Hostetler, Ken T. Let's see. Ma's out here as well. Howdy, Ma. Yeah, let's see. Ed's out here. Cindy Heyer as well. Hi, Cindy. How are you, my friend? Chaz, Christine Palmer, Wyatt Garrett as well. Atropos07, Upstate Toddlers. That's an interesting login name. Julia Shepard, Pan Robinson, Ken T, Colleen, Sheila Rivera, Amanda, Sadie Smith. All right, we'll shut down real quick. Misfire's out here. YTC JC Star 1015 as well. Kennedy Franklin, Pan Robinson, Marianne, and I think that's Georgia Wise. All right, we'll shut it down right there. And Felicia Drayton Taylor. Got to pull you in as well. Welcome to all of y'all to another episode 247, I think, of Monday Night Cliff Notes Live. Hey, 250. Maybe we'll do something a little special. We'll see. We'll see how I'm feeling in 3 weeks. But welcome to all of y'all. All right. So we've had the feeds down a little bit. We've been waiting. All right. First of all, as I said, spoilers. We've got Keanu and Ava on the block. We've been waiting for that eviction to take place. What is possibly going on? And as who put that out there? As Jay and Maryland have already said, and one or two of you others as well, the feeds came back probably 30, 40 minutes ago, and Keanu is no more. Keanu is apparently out of the house, and we also have a new HOH. It would appear that the new HOH, the final 4 HOH for the season, the first person to guarantee themselves that they are going to be in final 3 and be there on finale night is Morgan. Morgan has won HOH. Big surprise? Not really. Vince couldn't compete since he is the outgoing HOH. He was wearing some kind of looks like mad scientist outfit or something. He couldn't compete. We saw Ava or Ashley, I think, telling Morgan at one, I think it's Ashley congratulating Morgan, saying, hey, congratulations, you're getting to compete against the 2 least physical people in the house for HOH competition. And based on the very little bit I saw heard while I was getting ready for the show, they're talking about how it may have been a little bit more of a physical competition. I don't know anything beyond that. If y'all know, let me know, as they're talking feeds and all of that. But bit of a physical competition, which in some ways may actually work to Ashley and Ava's advantage, because if the HOH was a physical competition, you would think that maybe the veto competition would be a little more mental focused or a little more skills based, something like that, that Ava and Ashley may have a little bit better chance of winning against Morgan or Vince than if it was pure physical. Now, that's not always the case. During my season, the HOH competition was hanging from those freaking ropes and getting slammed in an 18-wheeler truck. That was horrible. That was not my competition. But I was hoping that because of that, we would have a mental competition. Well, then the competition following involved a little bit of a mental comp because you had to know who had been evicted during our one of our competitions and shoot balls to knock their targets down. But it was very physical because it involved pulling back, launching a slingshot, running all around the yard, gathering up balls to relaunch. It was so hot that day. It was miserable. So mine was two different competitions that were both fairly physical, but maybe it'll be different this time. But it all comes down to that veto comp. Morgan's safe. She's going to final 3. It's Ava, Ashley, and Vince. Whoever wins that veto gets to pick who goes home. Well, if Morgan wins it, then it's actually it's the 3 others, or how would that work? Whoever's not on the block, which would probably be Vince getting to decide who goes home. So anyway, it's for all the marbles, so to speak. This last competition. Don't know when it's going to be, but that's going to be the last one to determine the second or the person who goes home, and then we'll have our final 3 at that point. All right, Tommy Braska is saying at this rate, it looks like it's going to be Vince and Morgan final 2. I agree, and it's not always watching them spend every night, all night long in that HOH room, talking and whining and crying. It's been a long season, I will admit, having had to monitor that. But looking past all of just sometimes a little irritating behavior and all, looking beyond all of that, in terms of actual gameplay, they're kind of the focus, right? I mean, it seems like it's the 2 of them that probably should be at their end. So in the end, so I don't have an issue with them being there. It's just been a slog for a while here. All right, Mosu is saying thoughts on Morgan win, and she's played the game better between the 2 of them. And then Ken T is saying Morgan is running this game. She could take it off. Yeah, and I agree with y'all. I'd said a few times during the morning recaps, and I think I said last Monday, I was Team Keanu just because I felt like he was the underdog. He was always fighting. He always was the optimist, and I'm big on people who are optimists. I look forward to meeting them. I truly do. But yeah, now that he's gone, it's got to be Morgan. I think I feel like she has had more control over the house than Vince. More social game, I think. Tommy Braskett saying at this rate, it looks like it's going to be Vince and Morgan at Fountain. Okay, yeah, I got that second. Yeah, I think it's probably Morgan. There's a couple of things. One, now I know that Vince is saying, "Oh, I've won HOHs, and that's more important than veto competitions and all that." Well, now Morgan is kind of catching up to you a little bit on that as well. She's won more competitions. I feel like even though theoretically the HOH has to nominate people and maybe has a little more agency in the game, at the same time, I feel like Morgan has been more, I'm going to say manipulative. Manipulative isn't always a bad thing, right? I just feel like she's run interference and she's done a lot of things to try to control the game a little bit more. And I just feel like, I mean, it's not that Vince didn't have allies as well. I just feel like Morgan handled it a little bit better. And if for no other reason, the fact that she convinced Vince to put up Lauren just speaks wonders to her gameplay. I think Keanu has said he's not voting for Vince if Vince is on final 2. So I don't think that Vince will get her vote. I don't know that Rachel would vote for Vince. I just feel like this is Morgan's to lose at this point in time. Now that could all change. If Vince was to win the veto and he sends Ashley or Ava out the door, and then Vince was to win the final competition and he drug Morgan to the end, would that be enough to make a difference? I kind of still don't think so. I don't, but there could be at least an argument being made at that point in time. Right now, if Morgan wins the veto or she wins the final competition and drags Vince or anyone else to the end, I think it's hers. I think you've got to give it to her, and I don't have an issue with it. I truly don't. She's played a good game. I think she's played a game similar to KC from season 20, where she didn't do a lot in the first of the season in terms of competitions, but all of a sudden she turned it on at the end, and that's what Morgan's done. So yeah, props to her for doing it. I sometimes get a little. She's very proud of her victories. She spends a lot of time rehashing over and over again every competition that she's won. Sometimes that's a little tough to listen to, but she deserves it as well. So yeah, I agree with all y'all. I think this is Morgan's to lose. Now that she's in the final three, unless here's the only way it could happen: if Vince wins the final one and decides that Morgan just really is too much of a threat. He finally hears some clear thoughts going on, and he chooses not to take her, and he takes Ava or Ashley instead. That's the only way I see Morgan losing this thing, and I just don't think Morgan's going to let him do that. I truly don't. But we'll see. We're going to find out on Sunday. It's going to be here before you know it. All right, let's see what else we've got on here. Michelle Moore saying, "How many more episodes are there?" Oh, it's so confused. I don't even know now. I think we've got a Wednesday and a Thursday and a Sunday episode. I think there's 3 left, but y'all, some of y'all, I know some of y'all know better than I do on that. Let me know how many episodes are left. I know that the big finale is on Sunday night. Speaking of, I'm going to be at a finale wrap party that's going to be up in McKinney, which is just outside Dallas. I think it's a McKinney Chop House, McKinney Sports Chops or something. I'm going to post a little promo on it a little bit later this evening. But I'm going to be up there, and let's see who else is going to be there. James Hewling is going to be there. I've never met James before, but I know he was very divisive. Some people liked watching James play, others not so much. I always liked James was kind of a prankster, kind of what I did. So I'm looking forward to meeting James. Is going to be there. Big Meech is going to be there as well. So I have not met her before, so that's going to be fantastic. Mitch Guerrera from Survivor is going to be there. I'm looking forward to that. Dr. Maria from Survivor a few seasons back. I've met her before. Always fun to hang out with her. And I'm trying to think who else. That may be it. We may have 1 or 2 surprise folks show up as well. So yeah, I'm going to have fun doing that Sunday night. So I'll be up there finishing up the season up in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. But yeah, I think there's 3 episodes left, plus or minus. But y'all correct me if I'm wrong on that. All right, let's see. Karen Loveland. The kitchen floor looks like, I saw it looks like it has grass growing between it. What's it made of? Yeah, great question. I noticed that, but I can't believe I went the whole season. Really didn't notice it until like last week. Sharon and I were watching some feeds, and it's like, oh my gosh, it looks like there's grass. It's not real grass. I think it's just a print. And just as a little FYI, the floor in that house, the cheapest possible laminate flooring you could ever imagine. I'm not talking like you go down to Home Depot or somewhere and buy laminate flooring, which is fine and nothing wrong with that. I'm talking the stuff that if you just turn your foot the wrong direction, it's going to tear. I mean, the thinnest, cheapest stuff you could possibly imagine, because they don't really care. It's only going to have to be there for 3 months. And I think that's what it is. I think that's just some kind of a vinyl laminate roll-on sheet flooring type thing that they picked to have. It looks like it should be an outdoor scene, right, with the grass, but they picked it to go on the inside. I will say, now that we've been through just about the whole season, I still like the theme. I think they could have used the mastermind a whole lot more in the middle of the game, a little less down here at the end. I don't like seeing too many wild twists at the end. I like people just to kind of fight through it at the end and make it happen. So a little more in the middle, a little less here would have been fine. But I still like the twist. I still like the Mystery Mansion theme and all that. I thought that was pretty. That was pretty good. I've enjoyed that part of this season. All right, let's see. Julia Shepard saying, "Do you think Keanu can beat Rachel for America's Favorite Player?" And Chaz is saying Rachel is getting all of my votes. Well, you aren't the only one, Chaz. Keanu, I don't see how he does. I keep seeing on social media people say, "Oh, the casuals are voting for Keanu and everyone else is voting." Who knows? Who actually knows? But it certainly seems like there's a lot more people voting for Rachel than anyone else. It seems like Keanu is probably the second place. Who would y'all think is the third place? And I thought about that as well. I know some people are a little fed up with Ava and all that, but I could still see Ava getting some votes. Will could certainly get votes, although he went home a little earlier than sometimes it takes to get a lot of votes. Kelly was kind of she rubbed people the wrong way inside the house, but her exit interview, which everyone watched, I thought she did a great job of having endearing herself to a lot of people just through that little quick interview. But yeah, I think Rachel takes it. I truly do, which I think is kind of unfortunate because nothing against Rachel Riley at all. But I think coming in, I don't know how she would have played the game where she wouldn't have gotten America's favorite at the end, just because she is such an iconic player. And I think that there's just almost no way anyone else could get it this season. I almost feel like Rachel, as an existing player or returning player, should have been exempted from America's favorite, and that's not really fair to her. So don't take me too seriously when I say that. But I do wish maybe there was some way that you could also recognize everyone who's not an iconic player uh, in the way they played the game. And maybe that would have been to have first place America's favorite get a certain amount of money, second place get less than that, but still a decent amount of money, third place get a little bit less. Yeah, why don't you do that? I think if you make it the top three, you ought to get a little bit of a bump just for making it into the top three. But yeah, I look at the way, and here's the other thing too. The way that CBS does the votes, you get 5 votes. If you're willing to watch a video, you get another 5 votes. You're supposed to sign in, but you can sign in with any email that you want. Probably shouldn't have said that, but yeah, there's no control. It doesn't send you a confirmation email or anything else. And so I think as a result, there's probably a lot of people that are gaming the system. I think there's people out there who probably by now have cast 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 votes. And I think the people that are passionate enough to do that are probably more likely Rachel fans than they are Keanu fans. Like, yeah, I think Rachel takes it running away, which I will say this. Y'all know me. I've always said, unless the person's name is Cliff Hogg, I'm not big into returning players coming in playing with a lot of brand new players. I either want all returning players or all newbie players for the most part. But she came in and I felt like she did a heck of a job. I mean, she could have easily had a huge target on her back, and yet she flew under the radar enough. I just feel like there were other people that, through her fault or someone else's fault, I don't know, but there were bigger targets in the house. I thought Rachel played a fantastic job. She couldn't rely on the comp wins the way she did during her first 2 seasons. She had to play more of a social game, and I thought she did a pretty good job at it. So I was impressed with Rachel. I enjoyed watching her play this season, a lot more than I thought I would have, being a returning player. All right, Pam Robinson is saying, when you sign off your lives, is that your call number? Not really a call number. I'll give you a ham radio operator. I feel sorry if there's some ham radio. This is station SKD 143 signing off. You say, who are these people that keep reaching out to? No, the SKD. When you watch the live shows on Thursday night, people are saying, "Oh, hell, shout out so-and-so, shout out so-and-so," and they take 5 minutes as they walk out the door. I didn't want to do that. I wanted to have a quick little succinct thing that I could do that my wife and kids would know I was referring to them without having to yell for 5 minutes. So SKD 143, for those of you who don't know, SKD, Sharon, Kelly, Daniel, my wife and 3 kids, and 143 is shorthand for I love you. And Mr. Rogers used to talk about 143 being I love you when once upon a time when people had beepers and you had to send quick little messages, people would type 143 at the end, which meant I love you, just shorthand for that as well. And so that's where it came from. While I was packing to go on to Big Brother, when I thought there was a chance I was going to get picked, while I was packing, we were watching a Mr. Rogers documentary on TV, and they talked about 143. And so when I saw that, I told my wife, I said, hey, if I do get picked and I get in there, I'm going to throw out 143 and you'll know what I'm talking about. And she said, okay, all right, that's fine. And so that's where SKD 143 comes from. Sharon, Kelly, Daniel, I love you. Just shorthand. And so I've always used it since then. Anywhere I go. Yeah, Sharon doesn't appreciate it as much when I'm in the grocery store. I'm like, SKD 143 is a way to call her and all that. But other than that, yeah, I use it a lot. It's just a fun little thing to say. And they know exactly what I'm talking about when I say it. Let's see what else we've got on here. Karen Berkey is saying, hope Ava wins veto. I'd be okay with that, just to shake things up a little bit. Upstate Toddler saying Ava for the winner. And I would probably be okay with that as well. You know, the wild card is Ashley. Ashley is, and I think I told y'all maybe it wasn't last week, is one of the shows I've done here lately. Someone asked me what kind of game, what kind of player would you play a game similar to? And I feel like Ashley to some way, and then Colleen saying need Ashley to win the veto. So here's what I like. We've got a lot of different people cheering for different folks still in the house. I like seeing that. I like to see some variety in who's supporting who. I mentioned during a podcast I did last Sunday, BB Spoilers, I think is who that was for. I mentioned that if I was to play the game, I would probably play the game most like Ashley. And the reason I said that was because I feel like Ashley, to some degree, has played a logical game. She also hasn't been at the forefront. She hadn't won a lot of competitions. I actually won more than Ashley did. So there you go. But she didn't rely on competitions to survive. She relied on her social game and finding some powerful people to work with. And now she's counting on the fact that maybe she can finagle her way to the end because one of the other people fears someone else in the house a little bit. She's an attorney. She feels like she's going to be very good at giving a jury speech as a result. So that's her path. And I feel like in some ways that's what I would have done, is work the social media, work the social connections there enough to get to the point where I could maybe win a comp or two, get into the finals. And then I felt very comfortable that I would be able to give speeches that would have turned the jury my direction and won the game. So yeah, in a lot of ways, I see Ashley as being maybe the third best deserving in the game. But Ava has no business still being in this game. And yet she's still there. Everyone loves her for the most part. There's some people griping at her, but within the house, I think most people are very scared of facing her. We heard Ashley yesterday saying she's got 3 guaranteed votes in Will and Lauren and Kelly, and she'll probably get Keanu's vote because he's going to vote for her before he votes for either one of us. That's 4 votes. When you have a jury of only 7 people, you only need 4 votes. So yes, Ava, if somehow Ava won, now here's what she'd have to do. She would, I think, have to win veto coming up. At that point, send home, she would need to send home Vince. Send Vince out the door, and then it's Ava and Ashley and Morgan competing. And I think Ava would have to hope that either her or Ashley won the final competition. They send Morgan out the door. It's Ava and Ashley in a final 2. Wouldn't that be a kick in the pants, right? And then you've got Ava, who's loved by everyone in the house, versus Ashley, who is going to be a very strong public speaker. And I don't know which direction it would go at that point. I truly don't. It would be a little interesting. It'd be a little fun. See, I say that, and I don't want anyone to take it the wrong way that I don't want Morgan or Vince to win. They truly deserve it. But it would be fun just to see them so caught off guard if something like that was happening. You know what I mean? There's something about the fact that they've been, Vince counted down. He said, I've been in the HOH room like 40-something days this season, almost half the season. He's been staying up in the HOH room. I always tell y'all, I want to see people fight, good and bad. And they've had a little bit of it. They were both on the block thinking there's a chance they could go home. But I want to see people shake it up a little bit. So it would be fun to see Ashley and Ava at the end, just because no one expects that, just because right now they most definitely are the underdogs that's left in this game. So but we'll see. We'll see how it goes. All right, Sheila Rivera saying, what Morgan wants, Morgan gets. Yes, Kelly states that as she heads out the door, and she ain't lying. Now, Morgan's been very personal. It was so funny because Morgan talked about last night, told Vince, she said, I've never pushed people to do anything. She said, that's not how I play the game. I just lay out the pros and cons to a person about their decision, and then I let them decide. But I don't push them to go any direction. It's up to them. Yeah, right. Morgan has been the most forceful, pushy. I don't know the right word for it. She certainly gets her way. Is very she puts the pressure on. She doesn't let up at all when she's playing this game, and eventually people just break down and do what she wants, it seems like. All right, Tina Bailey is saying, don't like it, but Morgan played better than anyone else left. I think a lot of people are like that. And Ed's saying Morgan is the new Casey Clark. I could see that. I said, and she's probably going to come after me when I get done, Morgan will, because I said something about that Morgan is the new Casey Clark, just not as friendly or as enjoyable to watch play the game. And I meant that only because Casey did not have a showmance going, and I don't care if they're really showmance. They might as well be for as much time as they spend together. and talking and doing giving each other back rubs and all. Whatever. They'll deal with that when they get out of the house. But I just like that Casey did not have this hardcore showmance type duo that she worked with the entire time. And as a result, Casey, she had a different social game. Now, she turned it on the same way in terms of comp wins, but I just feel like Casey came from a slightly different direction than Morgan did, where she was so dependent in some ways on having one other person in the house that she could absolutely know most of the time what they were going to do and that she could control them and all of that. I think, how is Vince going to address if he does get filed to with Morgan? Because Morgan's going to say, hey, even when he was HOH, I'm the one that made the decisions. How is he going to fight that argument since Lauren went home? It's going to be a tough road to hoe for Vince. All right, Paula Scar is saying, do you really think Morgan and Vince will take each other? I do. I truly do, because I think they both think they can beat each other. They are, I won't use the word cocky and I won't use the word arrogant. They're confident enough that they have it over the other person, I think. Now, if Vince was to lose this coming up veto, if Morgan won it, if Morgan doesn't win it and Vince loses it, then I think it doesn't matter. Vince isn't going forward. But say Vince loses this next veto and Morgan wins it. Well, with that, with an HOH and a veto at the same time, is that enough for Vince to then realize that I can't win against Morgan? Even if I win the final and drag her to the end, I don't think I can win enough. Most people, I think, at that point would say, heck no, I don't want to be on the block with her. And yet I think Vince does not want to alienate Morgan by doing that. So he is going to convince himself in his own mind that he has what it takes to win. And I think he's going to be delusional enough. And watch, he's going to do that and he's going to win the whole thing. But I think he's going to convince himself that he can beat her so that he doesn't have to make that hard decision of not taking her to the end. We've already heard at one point she got mad because he had said something about if she turned on him and she'd sent Lauren home with that vote, at that point, then he would have probably been done with her outside the game as well. And she called him out on that, and he was so apologetic. Oh, that's beyond the game that for me to say that and threaten that, and I don't want to do that. He's already gotten called out for somehow suggesting anything within the game is going to affect their relationship outside the game. And I think he's at the point now where if he did that, if he didn't take Morgan to the end, he's worried about not having a relationship with her outside the house, whatever form that relationship would be. You don't want to lose his friendship with her. And so I think he will subconsciously convince himself that, no, I've got a chance. And one of the arguments he's going to use is that I've won plenty of HOHs. She's going to say she controlled them, but she didn't. I had the final say. I did what it took to get me right here. And then he's also going to come back and say, anyone could have sent Morgan out if he has that option. Say, I could have left her behind. I could have taken Ava or Ashley. I could have taken what's considered maybe an easier route. Y'all are probably thinking it would be an easier route. I didn't do that because loyalty is too important to me. I wanted to show my loyalty to her by taking her, even if she is a little tougher competitor as a result. I think he'll say something like that and hope that there's some people in the jury house that are going to say, oh my gosh, it's so sweet that he that he did that. We saw, or I heard them talking, I think it was last night, or maybe the night before, I think it was the night before, about Cody and Derek, season 16. For those of you who may not remember, Cody won the final competition. He could have taken Victoria to the end and he would have won. There's no doubt, I don't think, that he would have won against her. She hadn't won anything at all. He could have won against her, but instead he took Derek to the end. Derek then got more votes and actually beat Cody. Well, Morgan and Vince were both talking about that, both saying how incredibly great is it that Cody stayed loyal to Derek, took him to the end, didn't betray him on all that. And both of them, oh yeah, that's great. That's great. I think both of them were very subtly reminding the other person that, hey, they did it. They took each other to the end. You and me, we need to show that same kind of loyalty to each other. So yeah, that's a long answer. Short answer is yes, I don't think it's the best idea, but I think he'll take Morgan to the end if he has a chance to do that. All right, Tim Cox is saying Keanu will be on other upcoming shows. I think so. He was he was a shining star in a lot of ways just because he was. Now, here's the thing. He supposedly was real fresh to Big Brother and he just watched some seasons real quick. That guy is showing way too much knowledge for me to think that he hadn't watched a lot more shows than he let on to anyone in this house. I'm just not believing it at this point in time. He talked about the last blockbuster. He immediately knew which season that blockbuster was on. He's talked about some old school players and all that. He may not have watched the live feeds and been hardcore, but he's watched enough shows to know a lot more than he's letting on. But yes, I definitely think he'll be on some additional shows. They keep talking about the challenge. I don't know what's involved in casting the challenge, exactly how that works, but they certainly have been a lot more open to bringing Big Brother players on. And who else would you get on the challenge? I think, I mean, who else? It's probably Keanu and maybe Morgan. If she won, does that make it less likely that she go on the show? I don't know. I bet she's a Division I athlete as well, so I could certainly see the two of them. Now, so is Lauren, but I don't really see Lauren going on the challenge. They would eat her alive. You got to have a certain amount of just hardcore, badass kind of attitude, and I'm just not sure Lauren's. Way too many people describe Lauren as too sweet, and for the challenge that could be. But yeah, I see Keanu making the challenge. Now, how would he handle it? I think in a lot of ways, Keanu is also a little too sweet and friendly for some of what goes on in the challenge. But we'll see. I'd watch it. I guarantee I'll be watching it if they go on the show. All right, Julia Shepard is saying, if Ashley won, she'd take Morgan because if not, Vince would win. I don't know. I don't know about it. I don't disagree with you. I think Ashley at that point in time has got to think, who is the weakest person I can take with me. And I feel like she would, I don't know, who's the better speaker? I feel like Ashley feels like she's got a better argument against Vince. Plus, she knows she has people that she knows do not want Vince to win. She knows that Kiana doesn't want him to win. She knows that Ava doesn't want him to win. Kelly probably, Kelly as headed out the door talked about it. I feel like Ashley may think that she's got a better chance against Vince than against Morgan, especially. Well, I don't know. That's a very good question. I don't know what she would do. I think there's so many people have talked for so long that Morgan wins this hands down if she goes to the end. I think that alone may be enough for Ashley to take Vince. But I can't say I'd be 100% surprised if she took Morgan as well. But I kind of think she would take Vince. Well, we'll find out Sunday. Well, we may not find out Sunday. She's got to win that final comp in order for that to happen. All right. Karen Hummer is saying there's more to Big Brother besides comps. Vinny cried his way through the season. No logical game. Yeah, that's he did a lot of crying, right? There's a reason that Zingbot calls him crybaby and all of that, which, and I've said this for the past few weeks, is not the way I'd play the game. And if I was in there, I'd be like Will, just rolling my eyes every time they're crying again, just say, oh my God, guys, it's just a game. It's not your life. For a lot of people, $750,000 is a big part of life. Absolutely. But yeah, I always said that I wanted to play with logical players, not emotional players. And there's a lot of emotion in a lot of these players who are left. So yeah, he definitely did a lot of crying throughout the whole season, but it got him where he was, right? I mean, it's kind of been his shtick of he's going to do something. And when people get upset about it, back off and say, oh my God, I screwed up so bad. I'm such a horrible player. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I did that. I'm so sorry. How can I ever fix it? And thinking people are going to say, he just doesn't know what he's doing or whatever. But it's worked for him. Maybe I'll try that if I go back. Can y'all see me in there just upstairs crying every day and find some little someone I can talk to? Yeah, Sharon will be breaking down the why. I know better than that. As Will said, she'll be driving a fork into my thigh as well. Yeah, that ain't happening. But I can't really see me using Vince's strategy either. But if it works for him, it works for him. He's found a new way to do it. All right. Chaz is saying, don't think Vince can win against any of the three left. I don't know. Let's think about that. And then let's see. Carol saying, if Ava or Ashley wins POV, Vince will go home. I absolutely agree with that. Yeah, if they win, Vince is out the door. They'll take each other to the final three and hope that one of those two wins sends Morgan out, and then they've got each other. I think Vince or Morgan has to win veto this week. Now, here, that's the kicker. What if Morgan won veto and she ended up using the veto to send Vince out the door so he doesn't even compete in the final three? Talking about someone who'd feel a little betrayed at that point in time. Yeah, that would be tough. I don't see it happening, but that would be a tough one. Excuse me. As far as the original question, if Morgan's not there, if it's Vince versus Ava, Ava's got a good chance. I'm not sure Vince can beat Ava. If it's Vince versus Ashley, I think he has a better chance. It just depends on if he can structure his arguments about why he deserves to be there and win versus Ashley, who I just think is going to come on strong with those arguments. So, yeah, I think Vince loses to Morgan. I think he loses to Ava. Ashley, it probably depends a little bit. And maybe it depends on if Vince drags Ashley. I think that's about the only way it could work. Because I'm just not, well, I guess Ashley could drag Vince there instead of Morgan, if we talked about earlier. If that's the case, Ashley could win. If Vince drags Ashley to the end, I think he's got a shot, maybe, because he's gonna. It depends on the juror, and we just don't know that. It looks like Keanu's going to be a bitter juror. I would not be surprised to see Kelly as a bitter juror. The rest of them, Will and Lauren, I could see them just basing on who played the best game. Lauren's going to vote for Vince. She would, right? I don't think she would not vote for him. And Ava, who knows? It's going to be a fun Sunday night. Let's see. Karen Berkey is saying Ava needs to win the next veto, giving her sole power to evict. Oh, yeah. If there was ever one to win, and we don't know what it's going to be. If it's a mental comp, then, yeah, maybe it's going to be reading auras or something like that, right? That'd be a hard one for her to lose. It'd be depressing if she did. Yeah, she has to win it, or else the Judges Alliance at this point in time, they're not going to send Ashley out over Ava, I don't think. So, yes, if she doesn't win it, Ava will be joining myself as a fellow fourth place finisher that just came that close to the very end and didn't quite make it. Yeah, that would be rough. But I think that's probably the most likely outcome. But hey, maybe if there's ever a time for Ava to win one, and I know Ava's already won an HOH, so it's not as though she hasn't won anything. But that HOH was handed to her. In all honesty, Ava really has not had an opportunity to win a comp yet, or she hasn't won a comp that was her doing versus it just getting handed to her. This is her time. If there was ever a time for her to sit down in the bathroom or up in that bunk bed room and give herself one heck of a pep talk, she better be doing it right now. Because, yeah, it's live or die at this point in time. All right, Allison Griffin is saying, Morgan has basically run the house since Rachel left. Absolutely. I saw a thing talking about Morgan or Vince, one or the other, has had power every single week of juror. HOH or veto, one or the other, they have had power, and we've had a few where they both had power, but at least one has had power every single week since jury started. So, but you're right, since Rachel took off, that makes it hard. Now, I dealt with the same kind of thing during my season where Mickey and Holly just kept flopping back and forth in terms of winning some competitions, and it benefited me. Again, I'm a little bit like Ashley was, and that it kind of benefited me. I hooked my horse up to their particular wagon train or whatever, and it helped me get a little further down the road towards the end of the game. But yeah, we started seeing at the end that, gosh, they just keep winning. Well, when are we going to take them out? When are we going to take them out? And we waited a little too long, and we never took them out. And here they are at the end. So certainly, you've got a little bit of perhaps of a repetition of that, where when people could have taken them out, they didn't, and now it's going to be too late. But yeah, you're right. They have absolutely run Big Brother since then. And maybe that's why I have not enjoyed, in all honesty to y'all, and it is what it is. I have not enjoyed this season as much as other seasons I've enjoyed, but it's just because they had so much power. And again, I've told you, I like to see things flip flop, and there's other seasons where you've seen more flip flopping in terms of who controls the power and all that. So again, nothing against Sin. I just like to see the highs and the lows. So, but yeah, they have run the house. You're absolutely right. Our Texas Sherry saying, McKinney's in my backyard. Well, then check it out. I think I want to say McKinney Chop House, McKinney Chop Sports House. I should check that out beforehand. Sarah Talks BB is who's kind of the organizer of it. But I'm gonna post a promotion of it later this evening. So check out my Instagram and I'll push it. You'll see it. All right, Dr. Bose, do you think production has been more liberal with the adult beverages this season? They certainly seem to get just a few more the last day or two. They got some yesterday, which of course it was Morgan's birthday, so maybe that was part of it. But yeah, I think production. I think there's always a method to their madness, and sometimes when it just seems like the conversation's dragging just a little bit, you suddenly get a little alcohol pulled into that house. I know we had we had towards the very end. Was Tommy still there? I think Tommy was already gone. No, maybe Tommy was still there. I think it was final five. We sat out in the backyard. We'd saved a little bit of the wine. Holly was going to give us a wine tasting because she's a sommelier and all that. And we sat there and drank wine. Of course, they didn't help us. They kept calling us the diary room, which was a little irritating. But we sat out there and drank a little too much wine. And I started telling Mickey how much he needed to go on the challenge when he got done. And Holly started talking about, all they do is hook up on that show. And as soon as I heard that, I said, yeah, you'd be all right, Mickey. You do great on the challenge. And turned into a big fight between the two of them, which I was trying to create and didn't quite go far enough. But yeah, I absolutely. I think when they feel like and not always just a conversation. It's just when you get to this stage, it's easy for everyone to go off into separate rooms and just hang out and meditate, nap, whatever you want to call it. You give people alcohol and they tend to congregate together, which then you have conversations and things like that. So yeah, they always have control over it with the alcohol. And I know they also would give us games there at the end. They had giant cornhole and they had giant beer pong and Jenga and some things like that they brought out. And whenever they would do it, I'd always try to play it because I knew if they gave it to us because they were trying to get content. We had a few people in my season, I don't want to play that. I'd rather just sit here and stare at my lovely or whatever. So yeah, and I was like, come on, guys. They gave it to us. Oh, we'll do it tomorrow. Well, then the next morning, it'd be gone because they wanted to display it then while they needed some content. So, yeah, it's tough to stay busy at this time in the house. Just not a lot going on. All right. All the decisions have been made. There's very little to be decided except for based on who wins the comps, right? All right. Heather Luck is saying the theme fell so short. I love the possibilities. The hotel mystery, so many possibilities and then nothing. I will agree with you on that. I thought they could have had a hidden room that someone could have discovered. They could have had hidden keys and bookcases or coded phrases written on the walls. Or, I mean, what if there'd been some lamp that someone never bothered to turn the switch, but if you did, it turned on a black light. And suddenly there was some message on the wall that had been sitting there all season long and no one noticed. There are so many things that you could have done in that house for fun just to make it that much more exciting. Picture every movie you watched as a kid. As I watched as a kid, all the haunted house movies, The Ghost and Mr. Chicken with Don Knotts, one of my favorites. But all those old haunted house kind of movies, and there's always the hidden panels and the paintings that move. Even the painting. I know a lot of y'all been to Disney World, right? You've been to the Haunted Mansion. How cool it would have been to have some of those sculptures or the silhouettes where no matter which way you go, the eyes are looking at you. Or we had during my season, we had the clowns, the crazy clowns that showed up during prank week and scared us and all of that. How cool it would have been if some of the paintings in that house just had someone sitting behind them with eyes that would do this and see if anyone would notice it as they walk by. So much you could have done with it. Oh my, Big Brother would not even have had to pay me. I would have gone out for the summer and just sat there every day doing crazy, wild, weird, mysterious stuff inside that house just to keep the house guests completely on edge the entire time. I would have been I would have been sticking my tongue out through holes in the portraits or the eyes moving around. I would have sat behind the walls. Whoa! I would have done so much to get them wondering what was possible. I would have turned it into a real haunted house by the time we got done with this. And I guess it's not supposed to be haunted; it's a mysterious house, right? Well, I would have made it incredibly mysterious as well. So yeah, there you go. All right, let's see what we've got real quick here. Cindy, hi, it's Cindy. Thank you for the support. I appreciate you've supported me in so many ways for so long. Thank you so much. I appreciate the stamp support, super stamp, whatever they call it as well. But you've been a supporter forever, and I'm so appreciative of it. Thank you, Cindy. She says, "Will they reveal a mastermind?" I've seen a lot of people talking about that. That is someone a mastermind? Is it going to be the new host of Big Brother? Is it Rachel? Is it Ava? I've heard all these different little things here and there. I saw on some social media someone saying that Morgan had gotten a text message that wasn't supposed to go to her, and she knows who the mastermind is, and then I don't. And she was going to tell Vince at lockdown or something. I don't know. My gut tells me that no, it's not. We're not going to know. It's just some random person that never then shows up again to tell. But I suppose on finale night, you could have someone walk up on the stage and they pull their mask off, and I don't know who would it be. I don't know who that anonymous funny person or I don't know what, Jack Black or something. It doesn't look like Jack Black, but I'm just trying to think of people that would show up. And how about Neil Patrick Harris? He's a huge fan of Big Brother. What if he's a mastermind and he rips his mask off at the end? Now, that'd be kind of cool, right? That'd be kind of neat. But yeah, I don't know. My gut tells me they're not going to reveal a mastermind. There's not some big plot, because I think if there was, we would have heard more from Julie Chen saying, who knows who the mastermind is? Or within the house, you may have heard of who could possibly be behind that mask. I just don't feel like we've heard enough for them to have made that something going into it. So who knows? But we'll see. All right, Tim Cox. Tim, thank you, sir. I appreciate the support so much. It means a lot. So appreciative. Says it's been a weird but still fun season. Julia always said, expect the unexpected. Still Team Keanu. I'm right there with you, brother. I'm gonna be curious to see what Keanu does the rest of his days. He's from McKinney. Now that he's not going to be part of the final three, which means his family won't be over in LA. It would be cool if his family made an appearance at the our finale party or something. That'd be kind of neat. I don't have any reason to think that's going to be the case, but I look forward to meeting Keanu at some point in time. Weird but still fun season. Yeah, I've enjoyed the season. I don't want to come down too hard. It's just I was looking for a little bit more fluctuation back and forth. Some of the late night conversations got a little monotonous at times, but yeah, it's been a great season. I mean, think of it. The Mickey blindside, incredible. I mean, what the blindside. She truly was surprised. Riley going home was unexpected. Rachel was certainly a huge deal. We had a lot of very different personalities in the house. So yeah, I think it's been a good season. I think there's been some decent strategy. I know there's a lot of people who have complained, oh, these guys don't know how to play Big Brother and all. I think they figured it out. I mean, they haven't always done it the way I would have done it. I feel like way too many people were putting up their allies. That's just not the way I played Big Brother or would expect other people. But somehow they did it. They kept doing it, and there's people here because they did it. So yeah, how can you fault success? Do whatever it takes to get to the end, and if you get to the end, then you were right and we were wrong. So yeah, they made it work. All right, Dr. Bose as well. Dr. Bose, you continue to support me, and thank you so much, sir. I do appreciate it. Dr. Bose is saying, Cliff, thanks for a great season of recaps. Thank you. I appreciate that. Come to Colorado Springs and we'll smoke cigars over Moscato and talk about flat earth. All right, well, 2 out of 3 ain't too bad, Dr. Bose. How can you have flat earth when you're sitting up there by Pikes Peak in Colorado Springs and all of that? We'll have a whole conversation about plate movement and tectonic activity and all the stuff that my background in geology taught me. I would love to come up and smoke cigars with you and hang out in one of the most beautiful places on earth. So yeah, one of these days, that would be fantastic. But Dr. Rose, thank you for the support. I love it. And I have had fun doing this season of recaps. The shadows under my eyes a little bit. Sleep's been a little bit lacking. I made a mistake. I've got a smartwatch that keeps track of my sleep habits, and It is very, very well, very over and over, continually said that I'm not getting near enough sleep. So, hey, that's what winter's for. But thank you, Dr. Bose. I appreciate it. And then Marilyn Sutherland as well. Marilyn, you've been a long time supporter also. Thank you for that. I'm absolutely appreciative of it. Thanks for all you've done. I'm so appreciative. Well, I'm appreciative of all the support I get. I talk about that. I could probably talk to a wall or a rock and still I'd keep on talking, but it means a lot more when I can talk to people who have a shared passion for reality TV and just everything we talk about on a weekly basis. Y'all are my online family, and I'm very appreciative of the support that y'all have continued to show me. I'm just some old guy who was on a TV show, and now here I am doing this, and yet we get to hang every Monday night. So I appreciate all of you guys. Thank you so much. All right, some other questions as we get back to this. Cindy is saying, wouldn't it be a hoot if Morgan chooses Ashley instead of Vince for final two? Yeah, that would be quite the hoot. I think Ashley asked Vince about that. She said, wouldn't it be funny if Morgan picked me over you at the end? And Vince said, yeah, not so funny for me. Not funny at all for me. The shock, the look on his face would be incredible. Would they be friends after they get done? That is a tough betrayal. I am a huge advocate that this game is no different than poker or Monopoly or Trivial Pursuit. You play the game. When it's over, you give everyone a hug. You go back to real life, friendly with everyone, shared experiences. Why shouldn't you be friends with the other people who did play the game with you? And yet, to get that kind of a burn right at the end would take someone with a big heart, I think, to be able to move past that. So, yeah, it would be quite the shock. I don't see it happening. How it would get our attention, wouldn't it? Oh, and I tell you what, production would be all over them. So, oh my gosh, they'd have that posted on every clip for the remainder of however long Big Brother lasts as a TV show. That would be a huge one. Not sure that's not the right move. I just don't see it happening. All right. Although I think Morgan's okay either way. I don't think she needs to make that move to win. All right, unknown name is saying, saw you open the refrigerator with the other Big Brother house guests. It was fun to watch. All right, check it out. I'm going to put that out on my Instagram as well, but you can find it. All right, Adrian was the one who was behind that from earlier. Adrian of this season. I had reached out to Adrian. I try to reach out to every house guest and say, hey, welcome to the Big Brother family. We're a tight-knit bunch. We got each other's back. Y'all, enjoy the rest of the season. I look forward to meeting you. I just want to make sure they feel welcome, especially some of the earlier players who may feel like they didn't get the full chance that they wanted to play the game. So I reached out to Adrian. We talked a few times. He sent me a little deal saying, hey, this TikTok challenge with the refrigerator, could you do something like that? And so I responded back, said, well, I'm not really up on the TikTok challenges, but I'm happy to do it. And so, I'm not going to tell y'all what I did. I'm going to let y'all go out there and watch it. But I'm amazed. Adrian had a whole lot of people from this season of Big Brother. He had some past house guests. He had Ian Terry in there. Ian doesn't get as involved with the Big Brother world as he used to. He used to live here in Houston, so we talked a few times, and I've met him and all. Incredible guy, one of my favorites. But Ian did it. It was we had a lot of fun doing it, and then to watch it all get compiled was a lot of fun. So I looked in the refrigerator and pulled out a few items here and there, and y'all check it out. I'm gonna repost it on my Instagram, so wait for it. You can see it there, or go and check out Adrian's, either one. But yeah, we had fun doing it. It was a lot of fun. All right, Clinton Merchant. Hey, Clinton, how are you, sir? I've been seeing a couple of posts of you here lately. Clinton saying, "Oh, those voodoo dolls for nomination were crazy." Yeah, weren't they? Well, it's cool. They're all going to get those as their memento box. I'm sure when they get their little memorabilia box, they'll each have their little voodoo doll that gets included with it. Yeah, that was kind of fun. I can picture if I'm in there. My voodoo doll would have been I don't know, probably a little bulkier doll with a big old hat on the top or something, and a real big mouth or something like that. Yeah, this whole week of those competitions, that they shut down the Have Not room, turned it into the mastermind's lair, I guess is what it was. The competition where they're having to hold the plate or the mask, the one that Vince won to become HOH, and then the nomination in the same room. Kind of a creepy little room. I feel like they're pulling a little off of Traitors with some of what they're doing with the dark room and the were they wearing robes? No, I guess they weren't wearing robes. It just makes me think they should be. All the candles everywhere. Here's the deal: no candles allowed inside the Big Brother house, and too much of a fire hazard in that place. So I'm sure every one of those LEDs was battery powered. Some poor intern, right before they started having to film, had to go in that room, and they probably said, "Hey, you got 10 minutes. There's 500 candles in that room. Go turn them all on. There's a little switch on the bottom. Go turn them all on." Uh, that's what I picture, at least. Yeah, but now it was a fun little room, and yeah, little voodoo dolls, and yeah, they did it up right. I got shades of Big Brother Canada, who used to always do their themes so well when they did their comps and all that. So yeah, I've enjoyed the last week of competitions, fun competitions as well. Holding the mask, I feel like holding the mask, and we heard Ava talk about it takes a little extra body strength. Maybe that benefited Vince and Keanu a little bit more. You know, guys tend to have a little more upper body strength, so maybe that was a little more suited for the men. But then we had the veto competition, where I feel like it got balanced out, because that was the tiny veto where you're stacking little things. And I would think that women who tend to have a little smaller hands maybe have a little bit better time of doing it. My old fat fingers, man, I would be so bad at that competition. So I feel like it balanced out well, the two comps they chose. So I've enjoyed this week of competitions. It's been good. And I like seeing those kind of competitions. All right, got 7:59, so quick. All right, couple real quick. Ma, how are you, my friend? Ma saying, through with Blockbuster. Yay, finally. For the first time, fun the first 4-ish times, but overstayed its welcome. Yeah, they should have shut down Blockbuster before they got to jury, or at least at jury. I think these last couple, just too much. Trying to put 3 people up when you have this few people in the house, I just think it's overkill. I agree. Overstay its welcome, Ma. If they're going to do it, and that's saying it's a permanent part of Big Brother. They've said it. We're going to do it every single season. Y'all have heard my thoughts. I still think it kind of stagnates some of the early gameplay in exchange for a lot more drama on the Thursday night episodes. And let's face it, we're doing a game show for the benefit of the CBS network. So they're going to care more about having more drama and more nerves and more uncertainty come a Thursday Night Live show. They're not going to care nearly as much about how much it does or does not affect the strategy of the gameplay. That's not their biggest worry. They're wanting to get the eyeballs on the screens on Thursday night, and Blockbuster does it. So I'm shouting at a wall. It's not going to change. It is what it is. But yeah, I do hope going forward that it's something that you start getting used to, it shutting down at jury as soon as jury starts. And I'm all for, and I don't know if they'll do this either, I'm all for jury starting at 9, having a jury 9 people instead of 7. Then maybe that's old school too. It's a few weeks less that they have to have the jury house open and pay for house rentals and all that. But I'd rather have 9 people as a jury instead of 7. It seems like it's a lot harder to get 5 people to agree as opposed to 4. It's only one extra person, but it seems like a much harder task to win the game in front of 9 as opposed to 7. We'll see. We'll see what happens. All right, real quick, we've got Ken T is saying 4 episodes left. Thank you. I couldn't remember how many there were. I was saying 3. 4 episodes left. Wednesday, Thursday. Oh, it's special episode Friday. All right. Behind the scenes footage. All right. I'll just leave that for it. Some people like it, some don't do it. I forgot about that one though. So thank you, Kenty. And then Sunday's the finale. All right. There you go, guys. So Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday. And then we move on to Survivor, The Amazing Race. Special Forces is on Fox with Johnny Manziel. I'm kind of looking forward to that as well. So we'll have some more stuff to talk about going forward. Probably next Monday, we'll talk about what y'all didn't like about the season. We'll cover Big Brother at least one more week, and then we'll figure out what we want to do going forward. All right, guys, with that, I'm going to shut it down. Have a fantastic Monday night. One more week. Enjoy it while you can. We're not even gonna have a full week of live feeds. I'm sure it'll shut down the next day or two, but enjoy the last few episodes of this thing. We'll talk Monday all about it, and I will continue to do the morning recaps as long as I've got live feeds. So check me out if you're up in the morning and want to see what's going on overnight. But until then, guys, first of all, again, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, hit the old thumbs up. It's always appreciated. I will be doing the morning recaps as well, and I'll wrap it up with a big old SKD 143. Love my wife, love my kids, love you guys, and I love it. Brother, I do. I hope it's here for another 50 years. I hope I'm here for another 50 years. Guys, have a good Monday night. I will see y'all tomorrow morning or next Monday, one or the other, or next Sunday. Check out if you're up in the McKinney area. Come say hi. I'd love to talk. Guys, have a great one. I will talk to y'all later. Until then, cheers, my friends. Y'all have a good evening.